Hello, Mark. Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. My guest today is Sierra.
Edmisten.
Nice to have you join us on the podcast. We just met. At Blue Moon here in Hastings, Nebraska, and I want to thank them for hosting the podcast here. Just met here a couple of months ago,
Yeah.
not very long
Yeah.
ago. So a little bit of background about you, Sierra.
I am a single mom of 4 amazing kiddos.
Oh, yeah, 4?
I do.
Oh, wow. Do
I
you sleep?
yes. I have 3 boys, ages 11, 10, and 8, and then I have a 5-year-old daughter.
You have a lot of activity in your house.
Oh yes, they keep me busy.
I bet
keep me
they do. Oh my gosh. So were you raised in Hastings?
Yeah. We moved here to Hastings when I was in 3rd grade, like going into 3rd grade,
Okay.
the summer
Okay.
before. So this is my home.
So where was it before that? Before Hastings?
We lived down in Nelson, Nebraska for
Okay.
a couple years.
Nelson's awesome. I like that.
My parents owned a cafe that burned down, and then that led to us moving here.
Okay. You never know how something can move you to where God needs you to be, or the universe does.
Exactly. Yes.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
For a living, I guess what do you do as your calling?
Yes. So, what I do for a living is I am the senior power building organizer for the
Okay.
Nebraska table. That means I work with community members. I, help community members advocate for their needs, for their wants, for their hopes, dreams for Nebraska.
Okay.
And issues that are important to them. I help kind of like a
Excellent.
connector.
Okay. So how did you find them, or did they find you?
Yeah. So, it started when I was working at a daycare here in town.
Okay.
And I, I was working minimum wage, kind of struggling, and so I was working minimum wage. I was kind of struggling, and I got in contact with a group called Bridging Forward here in Hastings,
Okay. Cool.
a poverty reduction group.
Okay.
And they had an opportunity with a nonprofit up in Lincoln called Nebraska Appleseed. And they
Okay.
said, hey, we don't really know much on this. They just want to know and talk to people who have experienced food insecurity and have dealt with like SNAP.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, sure, I don't know
Right.
much on it. I'll fill it out, see what happens.
Yes.
Got connected through them, and turns out it was an advocacy cohort where they wanted to help community members learn how to advocate
Okay.
to better food security in Nebraska. So people
Okay.
who are on SNAP or who had experienced like the free and reduced lunches, things like that.
Right.
And how to really better help those individuals.
Yeah.
Um,
So advocacy, what does that actually mean?
Yes. So a lot of it is coffee shop meetings.
Okay.
It's
That's cool.
hanging out
Yeah.
and talking to folks, and then it's helping connect them either to an organization who works on whatever issues they care about,
Okay.
or it's they with the food security. They were like, let's go talk to some of your senators. Let's go do some press conferences. Let's get the issue, make people more aware
Right.
of issues, so we can make change happen.
Okay. So I get the passion. You're very passionate about
Yes.
this. I love that. So I always ask on the Dreamcatcher podcast, when you were growing up, was this something you thought what were your dreams when you were growing up? What did you think you wanted to be?
Yeah, so I had a pretty big dream growing
Did you?
up.
Okay, cool.
I wanted to go to Harvard Law and become a
Oh.
lawyer,
Whoa.
and eventually work my way up to a Supreme Court justice.
Wow.
It was my big goal.
That is an awesome goal. That's a huge goal. I love that.
Yes,
You dream
yes.
big.
I do.
So when you were just talking, we had some good conversation before we started recording here.
Yes.
So you just said you spoke in front on the steps of the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So what was the backstory on that? How did you get to that point?
Yeah, so it was with Nebraska Appleseed doing the food security cohort
Okay.
with them.
Okay.
They said, hey, there's an opportunity in Washington, D.C. We're going to
Okay.
talk to our federal representatives. We're going to connect with another group who's doing like a press conference and a conference for just like poverty reduction.
Right.
And I was like, that sounds great.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never been to D.C. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
And so I spoke with Deb Fisher and
Wow.
Adrian Smith. I spoke with them, and then we spoke with aides for everyone else.
Very awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then after we did that, the next week, we went to the conference with poverty reduction, and they were doing a press conference at the end.
Okay.
And they had heard my story and was like, hey, would you be willing to share? And so they had me up at the Supreme Court steps at their press conference, sharing my experience with poverty.
Did that intimidate you?
It definitely did. I cried during the speech because yeah, I was
Oh,
a little nervous.
well, I can
And it's a hard
understand
topic.
that. Yeah, it is a hard
Um,
topic.
but I had so many people come up to me afterwards and tell me, that thank you for sharing your story. Like it really impacted me.
Yeah,
I've been in the same situation. I don't have a voice to do it.
yeah,
And so that makes all the fears and nerves worth it.
yeah.
I'm always willing to
Well,
step up.
it shows you really take it seriously. That
Yes,
you really. I love that. I mean, what you're doing is so needed because it's kind of a level of society that we kind of dismiss. My gosh, and even here in Hastings, Nebraska, and so are there a lot of people with food insecurity and things like that? We were talking earlier that people are just basically living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck,
yes.
and so what do you find here in Hastings?
I find that I do feel there are quite a few people who do, suffer with food insecurity
Okay,
and poverty related issues. But I will say Hastings is an amazing community because we have programs that are willing to help teach and work with people from just instead of just a band-aid of, oh,
yeah,
here's a
yeah,
temporary solution.
yeah,
They teach them the skills and the connections that they need to pull themselves out of poverty.
excellent,
And I think
so good,
that is an incredible thing that not many communities have.
yeah.
And Hastings is really good with things like that.
Hastings is. I've been so impressed doing these podcasts and all the people that I've just and you introduced me to another one today.
Yes,
I mean, it's just I mean, I've done Crossroads and I mean I've done a lot of the Maryland Living Center and I just keep finding more and more. And one of the gals out at the bridge, she told me she's like, you're gonna find how many people really are helping in Hastings. And it's
they
like,
are.
which is what I'm finding. I mean, it's just like one after another after another.
Yes.
So if people do need help, how do they get a hold of you? Or how do they get help?
Yeah, so the poverty reduction group is called Bridging Forward.
Okay.
It's ran by United Way.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Brady Rhodes at United
I
Way
talked to
runs
Brady
it.
just the other day. He's not
Yes.
been on the podcast yet, but I think he's going to. Yes.
Yes, he incredible
Uh-huh,
guy.
uh-huh.
And so he started the program, got it off and going.
It's not surprising
So
me.
United Way is who I would reach out to for
Okay.
those that are interested in that.
Okay.
And just learning more. There's also what we call the Community Impact Network,
Okay.
which is a bunch of nonprofits, schools, churches in these 4 different counties, so Adams and then surrounding counties
Really?
that are working together to where, they have
Very
somebody come
cool.
in and wants to know about food resources.
Right.
They start talking to them and they're like, "Oh, you also need help with something with your house. Maybe
Right.
something's broken in your house. Let me connect you with this nonprofit or this person who can help guide you."
Excellent.
And so it's really a network of people in
Very,
our area that's trying to help better
very good.
everything.
I mean, would you ever start your own organization? I don't know. I guess if that's the right word.
Yeah,
I could see you doing that.
I've thought about it.
I definitely bet you have. I could definitely see that.
It's definitely something on the horizon, maybe.
Okay.
I have really found a passion through the work I do now with just voting rights in general
Yep.
and
Yep.
making sure people are informed with what's going on in the world.
Yep.
And so if I would do a nonprofit, I would probably focus more on advocacy surrounding that.
I could see that.
Also though, I have some big dreams. Right now I'm running for city council as
Are you?
well.
Oh,
And
excellent. I
so
love that too.
yes, and so there may be a more of a political future for me
You're an
down
action
the
taker. I
road.
like that a lot because
Yes.
most people don't do the action. They have the big talk, but they don't. But you definitely are an action taker.
Well, that's something that's so one of the main reasons I'm running is because I grew up. My parents always told me, if you're going to complain about something, you better do something about it or
Amen.
don't talk.
I agree.
And so I found myself, complaining and wishing things were different,
Yep.
and I wasn't doing anything about it.
Yep.
So it's like it's not going to change unless people get involved.
Very true. I mean, I'm just and I imagine your kids. Do they help you out?
They do.
I can see them
Oh
definitely,
yes.
especially with the passion you have. I bet that they pick up on that too.
Yes, they absolutely love coming with me. They'll come with me when I'm door knocking, talking to folks, either for city council or when I'm doing stuff with different petitions.
They will remember
come
that
with
when they're
me.
older and adults. They're going to
Yes.
definitely remember that. No, and you're showing what a good example. You're
Well,
you're
thank
walking the
you.
walk, and the world needs more people like you.
I
And
try.
yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, so have you always been like passionate about whatever you're interested in?
Yeah, I would say, when I was really struggling and dealing with poverty, you're living in so much that survival mode, that
Yeah,
paycheck to paycheck,
yeah,
that, I didn't think much beyond,
I can
what
understand
was
that.
happening the next day.
Yeah.
And so so I used to I started off working fast food, when I
Okay.
was younger. And then I moved into healthcare where I was a CNA and CMA.
Okay.
I worked in a lot of memory cares, and I worked with hospice patients. And
Wow.
so my passion is caring for people in general.
And it shows. Yes.
Yes.
I
And
mean,
so, I went from that to then I went and working in preschools and working at the daycare with infant kids, and then
okay.
moving on to being a preschool teacher. And so again, it's that caring for the community and caring for others.
Yep.
And that's how I kind of see my work now.
Yep.
That I do is I'm still caring for the community. It's just in a different way.
And you will go so far. Would you ever want like the mayor, or would you want to do something like that, or even higher office?
I'm keeping my options open.
See, governor.
My if my director has his way, he has already said, he's like, you're gonna be governor, you're gonna do all these other
I
things.
think I can see his
And
point.
so right now I'm focused on, let's start with city
That's
council
true.
and what we
You
can do
gotta
here
kind of
and
do. I mean,
go from there.
so okay, you talked about your poverty. How did you get out of that?
Yeah, so it was honestly through the Bridging Forward program.
It was okay.
So one of the things that Bridging Forward has, the research has shown, is that when you look at people who are in poverty, people who are doing well, and are not in poverty, one of the biggest differences isn't necessarily the amount of money;
Right.
it's the amount of connections that you have.
Makes
And
sense.
so, Bridging Forward, one of the biggest things Bridging Forward does is it helps divide that, or it helps bring together that divide of
Okay.
the lack of connections.
Okay.
So you get partnered with two allies.
Okay.
And so my two allies, incredible. We still hang out and talk.
That's cool.
We go out to lunch once a quarter.
Very good.
And one of the things that they helped me with was, I had a bunch of bills and collections. I was bogged down. I didn't even know where to turn or what
I
to do.
understand that. Yeah.
And one of them was like, let's go to the courthouse and just see what you have,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll start figuring it out from there.
Right.
So she helped me. We got all the information, and I was like, okay, I'll call next week or something. And she's like, nope, you're going to call right now. And so, like, just that extra accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and without her connection of knowing how to do it, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
And one of my other allies, he would come over and help me a lot with my house. One of the things that I was doing was, my kids love riding bikes.
Okay.
But when they would get flat tires, I didn't know how to change a tire.
Okay.
My dad had passed away when I was when they were real little, and so before they got into bikes, and before then, he was on disability, so he couldn't show me too much.
Okay.
And so I never learned.
Sure.
And so I would just go and save up money and get them a new bike, because I was like, I don't know what else to do.
Well, I can understand that. If you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Right.
And especially because when I was in that poverty cycle, it was, I didn't have time to try to go find somebody to teach me.
Yep.
I was too busy working.
Yep.
And so he came over, he found that out, and he said, no. He came over and taught me how to change a bike tire, and now I can change bike tires. And
Okay, so I can call you then if I would.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but it's those little things like that people don't always realize is
true.
costing them a ton of money.
It is.
And so it's just ways like that's what Bridging Forward helps you get connected, helps you see.
Okay.
They're like, if you want to go back to school, they're like, hey, we know somebody who works at CCC. Let's go have coffee with them.
Very cool.
And just kind of talk about, some potential ideas.
Okay.
So it takes away the scariness of like going to an organization.
Which is very, very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it just breaks it down on a human to human level.
Yeah.
And that's actually how me and multiple other people in the program have gone to where we're no longer in poverty.
Which is always excellent.
Yeah.
It's a win-win, that's for sure. So is Bridging Forward just a Hastings organization, or are they other places too?
For right now, they are just Hastings.
Okay.
There are other places across the country that is using the same model.
Okay, gotcha.
That Bridging Forward is.
Okay.
But right now it's just for the Hastings community.
Okay.
I would love to see them expand.
Yeah,
and I think
well,
they would love to
definitely
as well. So
Yeah. So if I don't live in Hastings, but is there something I could do to volunteer to help them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
they're always looking for allies,
Okay.
which are people who just walk alongside. You don't have to have a lot of connections. You don't have to know everything.
Okay.
You just have to be willing to go to a meeting, hang out with somebody, help them talk through. Maybe they just need to talk about their budget, or maybe
Right.
something else is stressing them out in life, and they just need a listening ear.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes.
And so you can go and volunteer to do that.
Okay, that's cool.
It's twice a month, I think is what it
Okay.
is.
Okay.
They also do some training before they match you up
Which
with
makes
somebody,
sense. Yeah, I
so
can see
just so
that
that way
too.
you can understand it better.
Makes definitely a lot of
But
sense.
yeah, United Way is who I would reach out to and just say,
Okay.
you know, I'm
Dr. Brady
interested.
again.
Yes, Brady.
Okay.
But any of them
Okay.
at United Way, if you
Okay.
call, can always get you in touch with whoever. And
Okay.
you know, you just say, hey, I wanna volunteer with Bridging Forward. I've heard about it. I
Okay.
want to learn more. I want to help out. What can I do?
I have to talk to him again more. I mean,
Yes.
so the other day when we met, you were doing a ballot measure.
Yes.
So explain a little bit about that, what you're doing with the ballots.
Yes. So there's a current ballot measure that's out that is called Respect Nebraska Voters.
Okay.
Um, i- the purpose of it is that we want to make sure when Nebraskans vote on something that their voices are heard and respected
Yes.
post-election.
Yes.
So I was having conversations after the 2025 unicameral
Mm-hmm.
session and was having lots of conversations with Nebraskans who were frustrated
Yeah.
because they felt like their voice wasn't heard. They felt like, you know, they vote on these issues like paid sick leave and stuff like
Right.
that,
Right.
and then it just goes and gets changed and
Yeah.
it's not what they voted for.
Yeah. Which is
Uh,
so wrong.
right. And you know, and that I feel that happens across all political divides.
Yeah.
People are frustrated with
Oh
that.
yes. Yes. There's a lot of frustration in this country.
Yes. And so I you know, was having all these conversations and I was like, something needs to happen. We need to do something.
Yes. Yes.
And I started, you know, I started talking to other organizers, collecting stories, really getting information.
Right.
And then I just became a squeaky wheel.
Which
And
is very important in today's
yes,
world.
yes. And I started just talking to folks who work in nonprofit spaces, who work in ballot initiatives. I was like, we need to do something. We need,
Right.
you know,
Right.
we need to help this issue.
Yep.
And I just kept pushing it and pushing it. And then my one of my directors was amazing and allowed me go to one of the meetings where some of the nonprofits were talking
Oh.
about like potential next coalition work that they
Okay.
wanted to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I presented the idea and was like, you know, this is something I think Nebraskans really want and are, you
Yes.
know, want to have
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
And so they were willing to do some polling and some research on it. And came back and they were like, let's run with this.
Yeah.
The original idea I had, of course, is not the same.
Well,
but
yeah, they evolve.
we
Yeah.
based it,
Yeah.
you know, it evolved off of what feedback we were getting from Nebraskans.
Yes.
And that I think is the most important thing. You know, Nebraskans need to lead the work.
Amen. Yeah, 100%. So, do you speak in front of groups? Because I would say I could see you definitely speaking in front of groups and not being intimidated at all by that.
I sometimes do.
Okay.
Sometimes
Okay.
we do some presentations. I just did last month, or sorry, we're in June now, so 2 months ago.
Okay.
I did a
Okay.
presentation at Hastings High School.
Okay. Cool.
With the debate team, and then with I think it was the 11th grade history class.
Wow.
Just talking to them about ballot initiatives and different ways to make change. Some of the teachers had reached out to me and they were concerned, not really concerned, but they were like, students are seeing protests as like the only way to make change, and we know that there's other ways.
Right.
Would you be willing
Right.
to explain that to them? And I was like, of
Very, very
course.
good.
And so, you know, I getting those kids involved, you know,
Wow.
any group that wants us to come talk and explain things to them, we're there. We'll help them.
And all the positive ripple. I'm for positive ripple, you know,
Yeah.
because I mean, what you say, and I mean, all those people, and they can go out and explain it to others too. So,
Exactly.
I mean, you think your kids will be? I mean, do they like to speak, or do they try and do what mom's doing?
They actually they do try.
I bet they
Uh,
do.
it was so cool. So one of my kiddos has some lung disease, and
Oh,
so that requires extensive medical treatments at times.
okay.
And so, you know, he has experienced us having to balance medical treatments and feeding our family, you know,
Yeah.
when he was younger.
Yep. Yep.
And so when I started working on the paid sick leave campaign, that was super important to him.
Oh, yes, exactly.
And I actually brought him to launch when we launched the petition.
Wow.
And he was just amazed by it.
bet.
When I would go to farmers markets and this kid would be going talking to everybody, trying to tell them, "Oh, you need to come sign this petition."
And how old is he?
This. That's my 11-year-old.
Okay. Wow, I was
and
not that way at
so
11.
He
But
he was 9 when, you know,
okay,
paid sick
I
leave was
still, I
started,
mean, that is.
and
But
he
I
was
mean,
loved it.
well, when you have
So
something, I mean, is this something you can get over?
he'll always have it.
Oh,
He'll always have it. But
okay.
there's always new treatments
Yeah,
coming
sure.
out, and
Yep.
you know, right now we're doing really good.
Okay.
So we're hopeful for it.
Okay. So, what's your view on AI?
You know, AI for me is a tool and a problem.
Yeah. Me
Um,
too.
You know, there are some amazing AI tools out there that can
Mhm.
really help people. So one example is we use it in my household a lot. There's
Mhm.
an AI tool called Goblin Tools.
Okay. Okay.
It's meant for more of like the neurodivergent
Okay.
brains.
Okay.
But one of the main things it does is you can put in a task like wash dishes.
Okay.
And then I can click a button and it breaks it down into all of the steps that you don't always think about. So like one of my kiddos has
That's cool.
autism, my
Okay.
oldest actually. And
Okay.
so sometimes when I say, "Hey, go do the dishes," to him that's more than just one thing. It's
Right.
multiple steps. You know, you have
Sure.
to
Sure.
you get the water temperature just right.
Right.
You have to
Right.
clear off dishes, scrape them off, you know, all of the steps
Very
that
cool.
are just natural when you're doing dishes to if you don't think about it.
Okay.
And so it really helps when I give him a task to break down what those tasks are and
I
what he
love
needs
that.
to
I
do.
mean, that's very important.
Right. And another thing that he uses a lot on it, and I kind of use it sometimes too, just to play around with it, but it's sometimes he has trouble reading tone, like
Okay.
reading like a message and he thinks that, you know, somebody's mad at him. So you can put it in there, and it'll judge the tone, and it kind of helps him understand, oh, this person actually is not mad.
Wow,
And
that's
so
cool.
like I feel like AI can be an amazing tool like
Me
that.
too.
I also get concerned though when we rely on it just for information or
That's where I'm worried about it.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen some stories of like AI in the medical side of things, and you know that makes me really nervous.
It does me
Um,
too.
and so I feel like there needs to be regulations around
Yeah.
AI because it is an incredible tool,
It is. Yeah.
but we need safeguards.
Yeah, we do. I mean, it will take out actually the background noise here.
Yes.
So I don't know what that says. I think we're still recording, so
Okay.
that might be in the podcast. I have no idea on that. So, but yeah, it can make you think that something's real when it's not,
Yes.
and that just is like, okay, how do we safeguard against that?
Right. And that's actually
Yeah,
something that, you know, I'm concerned about when I think about the work that I do and like
yeah,
election work, you know, fake stories,
yep,
fake you know, there's things like deep fakes where it'll sound like somebody's
yep,
voice, it'll look like somebody and it's not actually them. And so I feel like the online distinction between what's real and what's fake is
yep.
like blending together.
It
And it's
is.
so hard for people who aren't dealing with it every day to really know.
Yes.
And so that's part of the concern and some of the
Yeah.
stuff we need safeguards around.
We do. It's just like it shows me that it can do the podcast without me now. It's got my tone down
Wow,
and it sounds exactly like me. And it's like, oh my gosh.
that's
But
scary.
but it does have so much good,
Yes.
merits too. I guess just new technology, everything when we got our smartphones and all that stuff. And and then when technology decides that it wants to update right now.
Yes.
So if there's an update screen on there, you'll know what it is right now. So, oh, today's world. So,
Yes.
so where would you like to? What you're doing like in a few years? What would you like that to look like?
Um, I in a few years I would love so I'm right now I'm going to school for my political science degree.
Okay.
I'll be done at the end of this year.
Okay.
And so I would love to use that to help guide me on next steps. You know, I love organizing. I
Okay.
love being boots on the ground,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
working with community members. But I would love to move a little more into the strategic side of things
Okay.
and the planning and the ones that are dealing with some of the polling and you know figuring out what talking points work
Right. Right.
and that kind of stuff. That stuff just fascinates me.
Okay.
And so I would love to see that. You know, I hope I'm on the city council.
So you're on the
And
city council too.
I'm
Oh my
hoping,
gosh.
you know, well, I'm running for city council
Oh.
now.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Gotcha.
so I'm
Okay.
running, and so you know, in 2 3 years, I would hope that I'm on
Okay.
the city
Okay.
council and I'm, you
I
know,
have no
made it
doubt you
through.
will be.
And you know, I'd love to see some different changes here in Hastings, some different programming, some working together.
Amen.
You know, I feel like there's so much division and
Oh,
not enough working together and
way
working
so
with
much
the
division.
different, you know, pieces that
Yeah.
involve a city.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are kind of my next few years hopes.
That's excellent, and I mean, governor, maybe president. I mean,
Oh, maybe.
because I mean, we are so divided. This country is like it's my way or not.
Yes.
Everybody's got a point, but it's like we need to come together.
Right.
I don't know where we got so polarized
Yeah.
on
And
that.
you know, that's something that like I think back to growing up, and when
Hmm.
I first started realizing stuff about politics was during the 2020 presidential
Hmm.
campaigns.
Right.
When President Obama was running,
Yep.
and I can't remember who it was that he was on stage with, but somebody in the crowd had started asking about the birth certificate issue.
Yep.
And
Again.
that person was like, "Hey, no, we're going to talk about actual policies and stuff. We're not
Amen.
doing,
Yes.
this conspiracy
Going to
things."
that again.
And
Yes.
so, like, that's the stuff that I grew up with seeing.
Yep.
And then I look nowadays at what my kids see with politics,
Yep.
and it makes me really concerned because they see that polarization, and
Yep.
they,
Yep.
I've had to have a lot of talks with them of like they'll be like, "Well, this person's bad or this person has a bad
Yep.
idea," and I'm like, "But do they really? Like, what parts of the idea that you're saying is bad? What
Yes.
are you saying?
Yes.
Like, how can we work together with somebody who thinks that way?"
Yes. Yes.
And really just trying to get them to see that, like, everyone's a human. Everybody,
Amen. Yes.
is
Yes.
we're just people, and sometimes we let the polarization get in that way
We
of
do.
seeing another person's humanity.
Yeah, we do so much. And until we, and I think we're sort of kind of coming together, especially with the help of people like yourself.
I try.
I mean, it is. I mean, leaders, people that truly lead and not polarize. And no, I mean, I'm so glad that God and the universe crossed our path.
Yes.
So before we end the podcast, anything else you would like to share with the audience?
Just, I always gotta say this because it's my work and it's what my
Uh-huh.
passion with, but go get involved. Go, help out somewhere. Pay attention to what's going on in your local community. Go vote. Register to
Yes.
vote and go vote. It's so
Yes,
important. It's the
it
way you're
is.
gonna have a say in anything.
Amen. So, well, Sierra, thank you for joining us on the Dreamcatcher podcast.
Yes,
I
thank
look forward to
you.
watching your journey going forward. I
Yes.
mean, my gosh, I mean, you need to write all this down and you can write a book. So
Maybe that's in the future.
there you go. I'll read it.
All
I'll
right.
be right there. So thank you.